done in water pretty much the same way. The animals that do it, the bats, put out a lot of very simple pulses. But if you've ever heard the recording that they do of a bat, actually, what sounds like a tone is a whole lot of individual pulses. The model uses a dolphin. Dolphin puts out pulses that are not a simple pulse. They're actually in 3 or 4 parts. And those extra parts give you extra information. So a simple pulse gives you direction and distance, and that's all it is. When you have a complex pulse, then the reflections that come back, the brain, and this is the brain, this is the visual cortex in the brain. Actually, in a blind animal, when it's really echolocate, the processing for hearing switches to the visual cortex, and building images in the brain, they start learning to digest all that complex information. And they get information like, besides getting direction, distance, they get size and texture. You know, they work with soft target, hard target, and they get so they have a complete 3D image. And that's we just called the sonar when we were first writing up some pieces about it. Out of the cross lens, Anne Marie out there basically started doing this 3D imaging sonar, which is exactly what it is. I just haven't thought to call it. That's exactly what it is. It gives them a series of snapshots. You can hear it going click, click, click. Each one of those, they get like a picture. So it might be analogous to one of those, before they had movies where they had little flashcards, you know, in the penny arcade, that type of thing. They're getting a series of images. Now at first, the images are a little hard for them to decode. After a while, they can decode them here.
So putting out a pulse of
well, these are putting out actually a two-two. And then there's like the harmonics with those. I can't hear the harmonics very well.
But it's what you say, a sound. I mean, if I were describing
it's a sound.
A sound. So.
But the sound, if you have a microphone near any of these, that sound is about 1.5 to 2 thousandths of a second. And so it doesn't sound as loud as it is because it comes and goes so fast. It's sort of like, you know, on TV you get the frame and your brain remembers in between frames, so okay, that's what happens with these guys. They get individual pictures, and as they get the next picture, and next picture, and next picture, then they can tell about movement and stuff like that. In fact, the easiest thing for them to see is something that's moving. If you're standing, they may have to come within about 5 feet of you to know you're there. If you're moving, they'll think that's good.
So you started with service dogs, you moved on to horses.
That was a request. My sister-in-law, that's Jordy. I'm not Jordy. The company is named after the first dog. And she also had horses. And her horse trainer was a guy named Mike Cross, and he and his wife run this horse rescue. And when Gina, my sister-in-law Gina, was telling Mike about this, Mike said, "Can you make him for a horse?" And she said, "I don't know." So she brought me that, and I said, "Well, we were thinking of trying other species maybe next year." And the two of them persuaded me to try it right away. So we modified the dog unit back in February, and we put him on a couple horses in Illinois, and it worked. But the problem with the dog unit was, for dogs, it sits here on the chest and it aims straight ahead. The horses, most of the energy when sitting over here was hitting the horse's chin and being wasted, it was being absorbed. And it reduced the protection. So then we worked on a couple iterations of this. And this aims out at 45-degree angle. It aims this way and that way. It doesn't aim straight ahead. It aims out at an angle. And horses seem to like it. I'm sorry, you didn't know that. It wasn't until we got this going with horses that I mentioned it. I didn't think it was going to work with horse. It's the difference between the predator and prey animal. I knew that canids, in general, wolves, like the tigers, I knew that they echolocated. I knew from personal experience